Hey everyone and welcome to my channel, The Reader Teacher. My name's Scott. In these coming soon videos, I'll be sharing my most anticipated children's books releases for each month. This video is episode 8 of Coming Soon, and it previews the upcoming books for the month of October. You can find my previous month's Coming Soon videos here. I'll be going through them in release date order, and where they have the same release date, then they'll be alphabetically by title. If you just want to hear about a specific book, then make sure to use the timestamps in the description below. I hope this video helps you to discover more children's books to add to your TBRs, and I'll be doing more monthly videos like this one throughout the year. So make sure to leave me a like, hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I release a new video. Let me know in the comments below which of the books you like the look of, and all the links to the books that I mention in this video will also be in the description box below. October's another bumper month, so let's take a look at the books. First up, out on the 1st of October, is Bandoola, The Great Elephant Rescue by William Grill. Now you'll probably know William Grill from his best-selling book, Shackleton's Journey, which uniquely and visually retells Ernest Shackleton's landmark story of crossing the Antarctic from one pole to the other. In this moving tale, based on a true story, we meet Bandoola, his keeper Potoke, and war veteran James Howard Williams, also known as Elephant Bill, who undertake a journey of extreme courage, trust, understanding and bravery as they lead a group of 53 elephants and over 200 refugees to safety to northern India when a world war comes to their country of Myanmar, Burma. I'm a massive fan of William Grill, so huge thanks to Flying Eye Books for the finished copy. I'm always excited to see poetry being published, and When Poems Fall from the Sky is out on the 1st of October from Clipper Award-winning poet Zaro Weil. Published in association with the Royal Botanic Gardens Kew, this anthology of poems, raps, rhymes, haiku and little plays shares the stories of trees, birds, animals, rivers, flowers, mountains and much more about our natural world. From the poems I've read so far and their full-page colour illustrations by Junli song, which burst off each page with blooming colour, they all have such feelings of joy and humour about them that you can't help but feel inspired and intrigued about the planet that we live on. Thanks Troika for sending me a stunning finished copy. From best-selling author-illustrator Oliver Jeffers comes There's a Ghost in This House, a unique picture book with interactive, transparent pages about a girl who lives in a haunted house, out on the 5th of October. Living in a haunted house, you would think that this young girl may have seen a ghost or two, but think again, and she's actually never seen one before. What are they like? She'd love to know. And I can't wait either to find out by stepping inside to help her on her ghost hunt, from behind the sofa right up to the attic and spotting some ghosts as we go. Maurice Gleitzman's Once is one of the most powerful children's novels about the Holocaust that you'll read, so I'm delighted to see the much anticipated 7th and final part of Felix's story, with Always being published on the 7th of October. If you've read the 6 books in the series, you'll remember him as our brave young hero who has survived many unforgettable and emotional journeys. In this one, Gleitzman brings a now 87-year-old Felix into our present world of refugees striving for tolerance in Eastern Europe. It's been 15 years since readers were first introduced to Felix, with maybe the last instalment out 4 years ago, and I can only imagine that this concluding book will be well worth the wait. Also out on the 7th of October is The Bear and Her Book by Frances Tosdevin and Sophia O'Connor, a beautiful rhyming picture book about a book-loving bear who sets off to see the world. But when she meets different creatures, each needing her help, she discovers that books aren't just brilliant at fixing problems, they can also help you make new friends. And on the last couple of pages, we see that books can take you to a very special place indeed. I couldn't not include a book about the love of books in this video, so thanks you clan for sending me a gorgeous finished copy. Written and illustrated by black creators with a foreword by author and journalist Candice Braithwaite, Bedtime Stories Beautiful Black Tales from the Past, out on the 7th of October, showcases a collection of short stories based on important figures and events from black history, including Mary Seacole, Walter Tull and Lillian Bader. Each tale in this beautiful treasury is the ideal length to read at bedtime, as well as at any moment, to inspire readers young and old and find out more about these significant people and their stories. I'm really looking forward to reading more of these, so big thanks Scholastic for the stunning finished copy. Why? One of the best words to start a question with, and one I'm sure all teachers and families are all too aware of, that comes out of the mouths of their children. But hold on, because help is at hand, with Britannica, First Big Book of Why, by Sally Symes, Stephanie Warren Drimmer and Katie Slater, out on the 7th of October. This definitive and lavishly illustrated question and answer book gives the answers to more than 100 questions that children really want to know, providing the perfect introduction to fact-finding for younger readers. It reminds me of a much more modern version of the I Wonder Why books I used to pore over as a child, and I can imagine many doing the same as me with this. So thanks Britannica Books for the finished copy. Next is Count, the first ever young fiction novel from Melvin Burgess and illustrated by Chris Mould, out on the 7th of October. This one follows Brandon, who is a bit of a boaster, and he says he is brilliant at lots of things. So when Brandon is challenged to count up to 10 million, it isn't long before he's up to 1,000, and he can't stop himself from counting on and on and on. The higher he goes, the more people take an interest, and when he reaches 30,000, he goes viral, leading to stadiums of fans calling his name when he gets to 1 million. But then, strange, impossible things start happening, and soon the numbers begin to take over. Thanks Anderson Press for sending me a finished copy. There are some books that you know will stay with you forever, and this was the case for me with this book's predecessor, The Murderer's Ape by Jakob Wegelius. So I'm delighted to see the much anticipated sequel, The False Rose, out on the 7th of October. In this one, we return to our favourite highly intelligent and resourceful gorilla, Sally Jones, who together with the chief discovers a curious rose-shaped necklace hidden aboard their beloved Hudson Queen. This starts off another perilous adventure for them both, which ends up with them falling into the clutches of one of the city's most ruthless gangs and held prisoner hundreds of miles away from safety. Can Sally Jones unravel the mysterious story of the false rose? Huge thanks Pushkin Press for the hardback finished copy. Following Frankenstein by Catherine Bruton, out on the 7th of October, tells the story of Maggie Walton, whose father has dedicated his life to hunting down the monster created by Victor Frankenstein. It has cost Maggie and her family everything, and now her father is staking all they have left on one last voyage to the Arctic, with Maggie secretly in tow, where he hopes to find the monster at last. But there they make a shocking discovery. Frankenstein's monster has a son. I'm looking forward to spanning the icy wastes of the Arctic tundra to the vaudeville circuses of New York in this one, especially as I loved Catherine's debut children's book, No Ballet Shoes in Syria. So thanks Nosy Crow for the finished copy. Another one for the 7th of October is Ghostcloud by Michael Mann. Set deep underneath a richly reimagined London, this one tells the story of Luke, whose life is miserable. Kidnapped and forced to shovel coal under a blackened power station, he and his best friend Ravi keep their heads down, hoping to avoid the power station's evil owner and earn an elusive ticket to return home to their families. But when Luke discovers that he can see ghostly things that others can't, and begins to learn the terrible truth of why children are being kidnapped and forced to work where he does, can Luke find his voice and his freedom? Thanks Hatchet for the proof copy. I absolutely love the look of the next one, Great Britain's 50 Amazing People Who Have Called Britain Home by Imogen Russell-Williams and Sara Mulvanny, out on the 7th of October. This beautiful gift book highlights the inspiring stories of 50 key figures in Great Britain's history who've had an impact on the ways we live, think and feel today. Discover the enthralling and diverse stories of 50 brilliant Britons through the ages, from the warrior queen Boudica of early Britain to activist Malala Yousafzai. Personally, I'm delighted to see people like Aneurin Bevan, Owain Glyndŵr, Alauda Equiano and Noor Inayat Khan featured, whose lives deserve to be known about. The gripping tales include key figures from all areas of British life, science, medicine, entertainment, sports, activism and more. So thanks Nosy Crow for sending me a finished copy. Roar Like a Lion, How Animals Can Help You Be Your Best Self by Carlie Sorosiak and Katie Walker, out on the 7th of October, brings advice from the animal kingdom to show its readers how listening to the animals around us can help us to learn to be the best we can be. Full of fascinating facts and remarkable true stories, this brilliant book has a world of wisdom within, from roaring with pride and finding your inner confidence, discovering your pack and finding the right friends, and showing your spikes by developing your bravery. From flicking through and dipping in and out, I've loved the references to empathy, kindness, and of course, all the otters. Who knew they were so fond of juggling? Thanks David Ficklin Books for the finished copy. The Secret Animal Society by Luke Gamble, out on the 7th of October, promises to be a Dr. Dolittle for a new generation and looks perfect for adventure-loving animal fans. When Edie is packed off to live with her uncle for the summer, it doesn't take long before she realises there is something magical about the animals her uncle treats. For they are mythical creatures, and among his patients are some of the rarest and most amazing animals in the world, including pegasi and dragons. But when Edie herself discovers her ability to talk to these animals, she finds herself going with him on a special mission. Can they face her uncle's old enemies who are intent on hunting every last mythical animal on Earth? Big thanks, Scholastic, for the shiny finished copy. The Story of Afro Hair by K.N. Chimbiri and Joel Avellino, out on the 7th of October, celebrates the history, fashion and styles of Afro hair over the last 5,000 years. Going right back to the politics and fashion of ancient Egypt and moving forward to more modern times, we experience the kingdom of Benin, Henry VIII's court, the enslavement of African people, Britain in the 1980s, and much more on our journey of discovery, that's interspersed with profiles of inspirational key figures in the Afro hair beauty industry. This is a fascinating book that should be included on the curriculum, helping to diversify it and help readers to know more about our histories. Big thanks, Scholastic, for sending me a finished copy. Come on an amazing journey with 14 children as they grow from birth to 18 years old in You Can by Alexandra Strick and Steve Anthony, out on the 7th of October. Based on contributions from real children, we watch as they learn new skills, explore new worlds, stand up for their own and others' rights, and follow their dreams, all being just the way they are. I absolutely adore the inclusivity and diversity on offer in this book, and you can feel the empowerment emanating from its pages. Big thanks Otto Barry Books for the finished copy. Out on the 14th of October is Beyond the Mountains by Francesca Gibbons and Chris Riddell, which is the sequel in the A Clock of Stars series to the first one, The Shadow Moth. In this one, we return with Imogen and Mary through the door in the tree to a whole new Yaroslav. But what they find in the lands beyond will change everything again and see them facing dangers they could never have imagined, both human and otherwise. I'm really excited to visit this wonderful fantasy world again that's beautifully illustrated throughout. Thanks HarperCollins for the hardback finished copy. Next is The Boy Behind the Wall by Maximilian Jones, out on the 14th of October. Set on either side of the Berlin Wall, this one promises to be a page-turning thriller that's perfect for fans of Alex Rider. In 1960s Berlin, the wall is everywhere. It cuts through streets, parks, even houses, and teenagers Harry and Jakob live on either side of the divide. When Jakob finds a message that Harry has sent over the wall, the boys begin a secret friendship, using lemon juice as invisible ink to continue to share their hidden messages. But how much will they put their friendship to the test when they plot to carve a tunnel under the wall to find each other and their freedom? Thanks Welbeck Kids for sending me a finished copy. I can't wait to read it. Lenny Henry has always made me laugh on TV, so I'm excited to see what he has in store for us with The Boy with Wings, out on the 14th of October. When Tunde sprouts wings at a school football match and learns that he's all that stands between Earth and total destruction, suddenly school is the least of his problems. Luckily, his ragtag group of pals has got his back, and with his new powers, Tunde is ready to fly in the face of danger. Thanks Macmillan for sending me a hardback finished copy, and I'm also looking forward to reading the exclusive comic book graphic novel style adventure at the end of the book too. From Anjali Q. Ralph, the award-winning and best-selling author of The Boy at the Back of the Class, comes The Lion Above the Door, out on the 14th of October. In this one, Leo and his best friend Sangeeta always feel like they're the odd ones out in their school. Picked on, left out and feeling underrepresented, they don't believe Leo's dad who's always telling him that he's special. Looking back through their school history books only confirms this, as they can't find anyone that looks like them. But that all changes on a school trip to the cathedral, when Leo notices a name high above the doors, a name that is the same as his, a name belonging to a war hero, a forgotten war hero. Wanting to know who this is, they set out on a search that slowly turns into a school project to uncover the missing stories of the other Leo and others like him, to remember them and their rightful place in the pages of history. I've had an early read of this as an incredibly touching book, from the way that the children comment and are aware of the lack of diversity in what they're learning about, to the way they aim to reconnect the past to the present. Thanks Hachette for the proof copy. Little Glow by Katie Sahota and Harry Woodgate, out on the 14th of October, is told through the eyes of a candle flame who wishes to be bolder and brighter. The flame watches from afar as families in the streets celebrate various religious and cultural festivals, such as Chinese New Year, Diwali, Hanukkah, Ramadan and Christmas. But as a family gathers around Little Glow for their own special celebration, it becomes clear that even the smallest of lights have an important purpose. Through its rhyming words and stunning illustrations, this beautiful book is a little ray of light and one that shows hope, heart and humanity at its finest. Big thanks Owlet Press for the finished copy. Next is My Skin, Your Skin. Let's talk about race, racism and empowerment by Laura Henry-Allain and Oninya Iwu, out on the 14th of October. This book has been specifically written to support teachers and families in helping children to understand what racism is, why it is wrong, and what children can do if they see it or experience it, providing a super starting point for having meaningful discussions and building an anti-racist stance from an early age. What I like most about it is its examples and explanations of concepts that are written in child-friendly, accessible language that empower even the youngest of readers in developing their awareness whilst also celebrating their achievements and their greatness. I think that this book should definitely belong in every home and classroom across the country. So big thanks Ladybird Books for sending me a finished copy. I'm a huge fan of Nicola Davis and Jackie Morris, and I've awaited their collaboration for quite some time, so I'm delighted to see The Song That Sings Us publishing on the 14th of October. This one follows Harlan, who has been raised to protect her younger sisters, twins Ash and Zeno, and their outlawed power of communicating with animals. But when the sinister automators attack their mountain home, they must flee for their lives and become separated from each other. Journeying alone through the ice fields, forests and oceans of Rumek to try to rescue each other, will they be able to find each other and fulfill a mysterious promise made to their mother? Big thanks Firefly Press for sending me a proof copy. Out on the 14th of October, Yusuf Azim is Not a Hero by Sadia Faruqi is a poignant look at the impact of 9/11 on Muslim communities in America, as he finds out that the country's anger from 2 decades ago hasn't gone away. Living all his life in the small town of Frey, Texas, he's been waiting for the chance to participate in the regional robotics competition, which he knows he can win. But on the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks, can he hold on to his joy and his friendships in the face of heartache and prejudice? Thanks Quilltree Books for the proof copy. Publishing on the 21st of October is The Queen on Our Corner by Lucy Christopher and Nia Tudor. This gorgeous picture book shines a light on some of the issues surrounding homelessness, as nobody notices the Queen on the corner, except one young girl. Through her eyes, the woman is a warrior queen, with many battles fought and won. When one day danger comes to the street and the Queen on the corner sounds the alarm, the little girl must find a way to thank her. But can she bring the community together to turn the Queen's corner into a home? Not only is this book full of heart and kindness, but it also gently reminds us that everyone has a story of successes and struggles. Big thanks Lantana Publishing for the beautiful finished copy. In Shadowtown by Richard Lambert, out on 21st of October, Toby lives a quiet and unhappy life in London, with his climate activist mother and his distant and frustrated father, who are currently divorcing. When a mysterious shadow moves into his garden one day, Toby is drawn in and is taken to another world. This new land is a dangerous place to be, where dreamers have the magical power to dream things into existence. However, this new land is also one that is falling apart, with fires, floods and destruction raging on. Can Toby use his newfound friend that he meets to find his way back home and ultimately find himself? Thanks Everything with Words for sending me a finished copy. Do you ever wonder where your stuff comes from and what happens to it when you're finished with it? Well, find out in Stuff, From Magic Ink to Meatless Burgers, Eco Stories of Everyday Stuff by CBBC and Let's Go Live presenter Maddie Moat. This book promises to be packed full to the brim with mind-bursting facts and extraordinary stories of the ingenious ways people around the world and across history have made, used and reused the stuff around them, showcasing the hidden stories behind the everyday objects that we take for granted. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on a copy. The Bear Who Sailed the Ocean on an Iceberg by Emily Critchley, out on the 28th of October, tells the story of a lonely boy who finds a polar bear in his parents' freezer. But how did Monty get in the freezer? Who is Monty? And how is Patrick going to feed him on his pocket money that does not stretch much further than a few tins of sardines? From its front cover alone, I'm really excited to see how Patrick lives with Monty and the adventures that they go on. Thanks Everything with Words for the finished copy. I've really enjoyed reading Victoria Williamson's stories like The Fox Girl and The White Gazelle, so I'm delighted to see another on the way with Hagstorm out on 28th of October. In this one, that's based on the life of Robert Burns, 12-year-old Rab spends all of his time doing backbreaking work on his family's farm instead of attending school. But when he finds a hagstone in one of the fields, everything changes. Looking through the middle of its circular hole, he sees witches gathering in a coming storm, and they've set their sights on his family. Can Rab save his sisters from the clutches of the witches' coven before their Halloween ceremony? Thanks so much, Cranachan Books, for the finished copy. Set between 1920s Poland and prehistoric Siberia, The Ice Whisperers by Helenka Stakira, out on the 28th of October, looks fantastic. When Bella's mother dies, she is summoned to deepest Siberia to stay with an uncle she's never met. Exploring his strange scientific workshop, she uncovers a secret she was never meant to find. A portal to an icy land, frozen in time and full of prehistoric legends brought to life. But this frozen land is in danger, and it's up to Bella to find a way to save it. And this looks perfect for fans of Frostheart and Amy Wilson's Frostfield magical stories, and I can't wait to read it. Big thanks Puffin for sending me a stunning finished copy. So these are the books I'm most excited about reading this month. Let me know in the comments below which children's books you're looking forward to reading, particularly from those featured in this video, or any others you've got your eye on. As always, keep reading, and I'll see you in the next video.